Alright, so if you're watching this video, that means you decided to do the complementary color scheme for your self-portrait. Now for complementary colors, you can do any two complementary colors you want. So the complementary colors, just as a review, are orange and blue because these are opposites. Okay, also red and green are complementary colors. And then of course, purple and yellow. So those are the colors I decided to work with for my piece right here. I'm also going to use this darker purple for certain areas, specifically like in the background. So first, just grab the combination of colors you want to do. Make sure they are complementary colors. I'll also accept split complementary, so you'll find out more about what that means in class. Alright, and I'm just making sure those pencils are nice and sharp. And then I will begin. So as you can see, what I've done is I've started by putting a light, or a medium wash of the lighter shades. So the yellow, since that is the lighter one of my two, yellow and purple. And I just covered the entire face. I also finished this side of the face because I'm only going to demonstrate on the other side. Now, the way you're going to do this is you're just going to use the darker one of your colors for the low points in the face. So you can see I did it right here underneath the cheekbone, where there are the hollows of the cheekbone. So the cheekbone is the highest part, so you're going to leave that the lightest. And then right underneath the highest points are typically the lowest points. So right underneath the cheekbone you have the hollows of the cheek that dip down and create a shadow. So the shadow from the highest points are gonna be right next to them at the lowest points. I'm also gonna bring that down, kind of taper it in on the sides of the chin as well, because that's just what my face does. When I look in the mirror, I can see I have shadows kind of on either side of my chin like this. Okay, another low point is going to be right beneath your lower lip, just like this. So I'm going to go in with my purple and create a shadow right underneath the lip, because the lower lip pops out in space, this part, so it's going to cast a shadow right beneath it. And then, of course, those shadows I already started creating around the chin, because your chin pops out in space, so of course there will be shadows around the areas that pop out in space. Now I have a little bit of a cleft chin, so what I'm going to do is make it a little bit darker on the inside right here, because it kind of comes out and then it divots back in the middle, and then it comes back out on the other side. Now if you look here on the upper lip, I have a Cupid's bow, so that's like the divot. I'll zoom in so you can see. The divot right here in the middle. So I'm just going to darken up that area, and I'm also going to darken up on the other side of the light part that's kind of right in the middle. So just very gently here, because the upper lip is not usually too dark. It might be on you. You have to look in the mirror and see. But there you can see I kind of left it light right in the middle here. I can even take an eraser. This is kind of like a precision eraser I have at home. That I'm just going to use to lighten up the top lip line, because that part kind of comes forward, and then the Cupid's bow where it pops out here. Now I will zoom back out. Alright, and I will continue going in with my darker shade, my purple, on the darker parts of the face. So another dark part is going to be around the top of the forehead, because the middle of the forehead is the part that is coming furthest out in space. So I'm going to darken it around the top and around the sides, because those are the areas that are going further back in space. Therefore, they will be darker. Okay, and I might darken that up with my darker purple. It looks like that's what I did on the other side. So I'll probably do that, but first I'm just going to start by continuing all of the darker areas using the lighter purple. So you also have a darker area in your temple, so those are kind of the sides of your face right above your eyebrow where it dips in a little bit. And then the crease of the eye is going to be darker. On the inner portion of the eye it will be dark too, kind of going around those, your nose contour. Okay, just like that. And then down and around your nose contour, the sides of your nostrils, the bottom of your nose, because this part of your nose is coming furthest out in space. Therefore, right beneath that part, you're going to have quite a bit of a shadow. The bottoms of my nostrils, just like that, are the parts that are going down, back in space. Okay. And then kind of take your dark color and go around the brow bone area. So the brow bone area is that bone that kind of pops out right underneath your eyebrow. So you're going to bring that shadow and kind of go around that lighter area. Okay. Gonna just gradually bring that darker color up towards the lighter color, creating a gradient. So a gradient is where it gradually goes from darks to lights. So I will show you more of what I mean. So you see I am adding an even darker purple in the crease because I know that that is going to be one of my darkest darks. Okay, it's a literal fold in the skin. So it's going to be going way back in space. And then I'm going to gradually bring it up to the light parts of the face. And then I'm going to kind of start to mix it in with those yellows. Okay, another thing you can do with the colored pencils is you can take an eraser and kind of erase where the highest points are. So I'm going to just take my eraser and kind of erase right at that brow bone. And now you can see it is really popping out in space. I'm going to darken up my eyebrows. I'm going to start by using the lighter purple. And then I'm just going to make a few strokes using the darker purple too to kind of create the texture of the hair. Okay, I'm going to bring my darker purple around the top of my forehead because your hair is actually going to be casting a shadow on that very top part of your forehead. Whether your hair is short or long, you're going to have a little bit of a shadow right by your hairline. I'm going to just bring that shadow all the way around that part. And then gradually start to blend that down to the lighter part on the middle of my forehead. Now my forehead happens to have a little bit of a divot in the middle where it kind of dents in right here. So I'm just going to ever so slightly bring my lighter purple in and just make a little bit of that dent. Yours might not have this, in which case you would just keep it nice and light in the middle there. Okay, starting to like how that looks. So I'm going to go back down to the cheek area and kind of start to gradually build that into the highlight and maybe do some erasing where the highest points are. We will see. And since you kind of get the picture of what I'm doing so far, I am going to speed up the time until I come to a point that is a little bit more important and I need to talk to you a little bit more about. So probably when I get to the lips and maybe the neck, I will slow it down again. Alright, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about drawing the eye. So I'm going to zoom in. So I think for my eyes, I'm going to go with purple rather than yellow because I think that'll look a little bit more natural. So I'm actually going to draw the top part kind of deeper. I'm going to take a black and kind of map out where my pupil is going to be. I need to sharpen up my black real quick. Okay, so I'm just going to outline where that pupil is going to be, and I'm also going to outline kind of where a shine mark is going to be. And the shine mark is just an area that's going to stay white, and it looks most natural when you have it going through both your iris and your pupil in your eye. You can see on this one, I have it as well, kind of right here. I'll outline it so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. And then I'm going to do something that I forgot to do on this side. I'm going to just color in the tear duct. I'm just going to use the lighter purple shade, because that one is probably the closest to the tear duct color. Okay, I'm going to go back in with my dark purple, draw the top part of my eye pretty dark, and then around the outside of the iris, because there's usually a dark ring around your eyes. And then I'm just going to fade that into the lighter purple and kind of keep it really light on the bottom. So to create like a light purple, I'm just not going to put very much pressure on my pencil. See how I didn't push too hard and it made that purple nice and light? Okay, and then another thing I'm going to do is add a shadow on the top of my eye, just with a little bit of light purple, because that upper lash line is going to create a bit of a shadow. So I'm just lightly going to make a shadow on the white parts of my eyes. Okay, and then for the eyelid, I'm just going to make it a little darker on the inner and outer corners of both the top and bottom lid. So you can see I added a little bit of yellow, then I'm going to go in with a little bit of light purple and just darken it up. And then it's going to stay nice and white on the inside, sort of, because that's the lightest part. So I'm going to take a white, kind of darken it right in there, and kind of do the same for this side, or lighten it, I should say. And there, I am pretty happy with how the eyes look. So now I'm just going to take a black and create some eyelashes. The eyelashes are kind of going to go outward towards the outside of the eye, more straight up in the middle, and then they're going to go in the opposite direction on the inside of the eye. You can also take your black and darken up the upper lash line. You don't have to do lashes if you don't want to. I'm going to do it on the other side real quick. Alright, and that looks pretty good for the eyes. Next, I'm going to talk about the lips real quick. So I think I'm going to do the lips purple as well. And what I want to say about the lips is that the upper lip is actually going to be darker than the lower lip. So I'm going to go and do a pretty solid layer of that light purple. And then I'm going to take my darker purple and just add a little bit to the outer edges of my lip and then along the line that separates your two lips, because your lips are coming out in space, so they're going to be lightest right in the middle, and your lower lip is usually coming further out in space, so that's why that one is going to be lighter. So for the lower lip, I'm going to go over with the light purple but use a lot less pressure to make it a lot lighter. And then just a little bit of dark on the outer corners like that. Maybe go over the white with the white to blend it all together. So with that, I think I am pretty happy with how the lips look. Now for the nose, I just kind of added a subtle contour around the whole nose. You're not going to have any sharp lines really around the nose. It's just all going to be very gradual shadows, okay? And you can see I made quite a dark shadow right underneath the nose, right here, because this part is coming out furthest, so that means right underneath is going to be the darkest shadow, because it's really going back in space back there, down there at the bottom. Okay, maybe outline the nares a little bit more with the dark purple, liking how that looks. Okay, and then just have it gradually fade towards the lightest point in the middle. Maybe blend some yellow in with it. and leave it kind of white in the middle because it's popping out in space. So with that, I think I am pretty happy with the nose. All right, all that's left is the neck. So with the neck, your head is going to be casting a shadow on your neck. So you're going to make a nice dark line right underneath the neck. Okay, and then you're kind of going to have a V-like shadow going around your Adam's apple. Now even if you are female, you're still going to have a little bit of this bone popping out. But be sure to examine yourself in the mirror because everyone's different. So if yours does not come out very far, maybe you don't want to do this shadow as intense as I am doing it. Okay, and then the sides of the neck are also going to be a little bit darker because it's coming out in space, so it's going to be lightest in the middle. So I'm starting with the lighter purple, and then I'm going to go in with the darker purple to add the darker shadows around the very edges. Now I think you kind of get the idea on how to do this portrait, so I'm going to go ahead and speed it up and finish the portrait up in fast motion for you.